Well, everybody, welcome to part 3 and the final part of the feed mill build, which my ladder just came off of there, so that's something we'll have to fix. This is it. This thing is together as it's going to get. I will say this was not a dream build. This was not a fun build. There are a lot of things that happened on this build, so I'll say a few things before I get into that. I bought this kit. Number one, when you buy a kit and you're doing it on your layout, maybe you're buying it for a scene, make sure it fits in, make sure it's something that's going to work with that scene. When I get this on my layout and show you where it's going to go, you're going to see that this fits very well and blends in with that scene and completes it. That's something to consider when you buy one of these kits. Also, always be prepared for things that'll go wrong, especially when you buy an older kit that's in a box. A lot of times parts are going to be warped, parts may break easy, they may be a little brittle, especially some of the smaller parts because they're a little bit older. They may be some issues. There certainly was with this one. A few things I did was this I put in. This I got to paint. This I put in. This just didn't have any return to anything. And I'm like, okay, well, that can't be. It's got to go somewhere. So I made this little pipe out of the sprue. I think it looks really well. I'm going to have to paint it, obviously. This was supposed to come out of the exhaust and go down to here. That part I could not get to stick to this for anything in the world. So what I did was I just made sure this went somewhere and it's not an exhaust. So this will be another exhaust, I guess. And this will come up where it feeds in and out back into this building. Also on this part, there was supposed to be lattice. Like the back part here, you can see this lattice here. It broke trying to cut it out. I was carefully cutting it out too, and it broke. But something that I don't get is that it had the lattice for this little dock and that front dock, but it did not have any for this dock. So I'm really not sure. I would have thought that you would have had some for this dock. I don't think it was missing in the kit. This I hope to be up against the rail and get served by boxcars. So if there's no lattice under, not a big deal. But it'll turn out okay on here. I think it'll be a dock. You won't really notice it with some trucks and stuff up against it. So I'll have to put my little ladder back on there and touch it up. So next, go to the next little building. This was supposed to have the brick foundation under it. I didn't really like that. I want it to be a little bit lower. So when it sits on the layout, this will just sit up against there like that. And being a little bit lower, I think that's going to be fine. It'll be ground level for this one. That'll be fine. This was an exhaust, some kind of exhaust stack coming out of a little building on the end. I did put a vent on it, but I used this as another return pipe for this drum here. So I wanted to make sure they got filled somehow. So now on to another thing is touching this up. So where I'm going to go from here is I'm going to touch up the flaws, because yes, there are flaws in the paint, primarily because the glue marks. You can see it here. I used this extreme power glue. Never had any issue with it before. I've used it on my Cornerstone kits. It's worked fine. It's like similar to super glue type glue. But this one, you can see this. It just gobs up like this. And I'm keeping this very clean too. And it's still coming out after I use it. So I'm going to switch to Model Masters with that little needle guide on it. Testors Model Masters glue. Vinny uses that on his structures. Another couple other people use that. It's a fantastic glue. Very nice. So what I'm going to do now is go through and touch up all these little glue marks. Touch up the silver on here. Touch up some of the brown. And then I'll show you what it looks like dried and how it touched up some of the white as well. And then I will take you through the weathering. And once I take you through the weathering, then the last final little part will be I'll put it on the layout, show you where it's going to go and how it fits in. So right now I'm going to go through and touch all these little spots up where it needs to be touched up, and make sure we get these glue marks. Only one spot did it mess up the actual wood grain right here. So I think once the sheen's taken off of it, it'll look okay. So that's what I'm going to do next. So stay tuned and I'll show you what it looks like touched up. Alright guys, so I kind of started doing a little weathering on this once it kind of dried. The touch-ups covered up the glue parts pretty good. It toned it down a lot. So what I'm doing right now is putting the rust on here, and basically I use pastels or chalk. Sometimes I might even get my brush a little wet. So right now, because I'm using the rust up here and some smaller parts, I use my smaller brush and just get a little water on it and find spots where it looks like there's been water runoff, especially from these pipes. These pipes will be rusty anyway, so the tank will be rusty too. As you can kind of see, these are turning out pretty nice here. So just kind of work with it, and a little bit right there where that might run off, and probably here on this wooden part would have some black runoff, I would imagine, from the structure. Maybe even a little gray in there. So kind of just like that, just kind of work it in. It's easy method to use. Not much to it. Weathering is kind of how you want it to look. So then for the bottom, you can kind of see I did this. I used my thicker brush. Use a gray or white or black for the bottom. So here's a gray, and just kind of touch up these bottom parts here to make it look weathered up. The dock I'll weather up pretty good because it'll probably be dirty from bringing stuff in. Just give it a little weathering there. Probably use a little bit of gray here on the bottom part. Mix with a little black. And just continue working it, and you can kind of see it showing up there on the bottom. So that's kind of how I do it. That's an easy method. So what I'll do is I'll continue on doing this, and then when I'm done, I'll of course show what it looks like on the spot where I want on the layout and how it blends in with the other building, and should look very nicely once it's weathered up. So stay tuned, and I'll be in the next step. Okay, everyone, here is the reveal. One thing I did when I was weathering this, this little back part here had that ladder. I was kind of looking at it, I'm like, how's somebody going to get in this door here? So I put that ladder on that end, that ladder there. I think that'll work. It looks fine to me. That ladder might be a little crooked, but so weathered up. You can see the rust. It matches really nicely. The feed mill back there, or the elevator, it's a nice little complex. It matches nicely. You see the weathering on it. The details stick out. The dock on the back comes right up to the track, just right at the rail height, just above. So I think we're going to service this with box cars, service this other one with hopper cars. So it turned out very nicely. Very happy with it. Even though I had your ups and downs, you stick with it and you can weather it and make it look nice. That's what I did. So just some little details, and it fits in with the town. This is the way the town's going to look with this. So when you come into this little town, it's going to look nice. This will be either a Ford dealership like I was going for, or implement. But no, it turned out very nicely. So very happy with that. Fits in nice. So that's the finished product. See if we can take a look here on the other side. Yep, you can see where that comes up to the rail. We could put some box cars in there and easily do that. Some little details that you're going to be later would be a sign for this, styrene sign there in front. So the main road will come through here, go through here. This will just all be a gravel lot. All this will be gravel that this is on, and I think that'll be fine with the ballast in there and some weeds and stuff. I think it's going to look fantastic, and it completes this little area here a little bit, of course minus the work that I still have to do, but very happy with it. Looks great. So guys, that's it. Let me know what you think. I know this was a process, and I showed the ups and downs of this and talked about them. So we see overall the finished product turned out. I might have weathered this here a little bit too much right there. I can fix that if I go back with a brush. I think in a little isopropyl I can fix that. But that could be runoff from this corner, like that would be rust and dirt. So we may just stick with it, get the little details I need, and I think we're good. So thanks guys for watching this series, and that's it. And now it's on with other work on the layout.